We've been talking with our reporters and anchors from ABC 15, our TV partners. In the studio with us right now is Kaley O'Kelley, who my understanding is Kaley is a big Joe fan.
Yeah, you said that. I didn't hear Kaley say that. I think she's maybe a fan of our show.
She said she listens to you every day, which I thought was very sweet.
That's very sweet.
I did say that.
It's very nice.
I did say that. I am a huge fan. I'm like fangirling over here. This is my traffic pattern, though. I mean, we live in this part of town. I'll go to pick up my kids right after I get to hang out with you guys. So I feel like I know you.
Well, good. Well, now you do know us.
I do know you.
Hanging out with you every day. It's awesome.
Is fantastic.
I'm really excited to talk to you, not only personally, we had a chance to catch up off the air, but professionally about what you're doing with the Voice of the Voter program that ABC 15 is working on. And Ford Hatchett, the reporter, was just in here talking about how he was part of the advance team, which sounded very Secret Service-y to me. But you were part of the A squad then that followed the advance team after they cleared the way. And then you talked with some of the voters as well. Where did you go?
I was
in
the
Sholo
area, Navajo Nation, White Mountains. And, when you get an assignment like this, first of all, I was really excited because to be able to get out in the community it's fantastic here in the Valley. But when you're able to get out and see other parts of the state, and I spent a lot of time in Sholo, Pine Top Lakeside area in the past, but to get there and to be able to just visit with everyday people about where they are, what they're looking for in a candidate, and how they're feeling about the upcoming election. First of all, these are very personal questions, right? A lot of people don't feel so comfortable talking about politics. They opened up, they were quite comfortable, and it was a fantastic journey. What we're learning at ABC 15, I think, really gives Arizona a great scope of where the people are right now.
So Ford mentioned that too, that the people in the Sholo area don't really want to talk about politics.
They don't.
They want to shy away from the political arguments. They want to preserve their friendships. Is there a sense that the area is politically divided at all?
I did not get that.
Okay.
I did not get that at all. However, there was only one, there was a certain group of voters that did talk to us. We were trying to find anyone who would admit that they were voting either for Vice President Kamala Harris or the former President Donald Trump. And the real sense that I got was, and believe me, we got into the issues. They would either say he or she, right? In the way they were talking. But what was super interesting to me is, it was the economy was the main issue for every single person we talked to. And again, we talked to a lot of people. And that was top of the list, followed by safety and immigration.
Okay.
Kaley O'Kelley from ABC 15 is joining us right now, and we're getting some of the perspective of voters who are not in the Valley, which is incredibly important. You grew up in a small town.
Yes.
Population less than 15,000 people. Small town and I did too. In my case, it was in Michigan. Everything in Michigan went through Detroit. Everything in Washington goes through Seattle.
Yes.
Right? So did you feel a bit of a kinship with the people of Sholo as they say, hey, what about us? Not everything is in Phoenix. This is a big state.
I grew up in a town where my little town was never mentioned on the news. It was never mentioned on the radio. And so they were thrilled to have it. In fact, I'll tell you this, and I thought it was super cute because I know that I would have had the same conversation. We were at dinner, and there were people, we had a couple come up to the table and say, thank you for coming. We didn't have logos that said ABC 15 on. So word did spread all over town that we were coming. Yes.
Yeah.
So another thing that we're doing, and it really is part of our road trip with Voice of the Voters, we have a soapbox. It's a literal soapbox that we set up, and the voters are able to come and stand on the soapbox, says Voice of the Voter behind them, and share how they feel, what they're looking for in a candidate, what's important to them right now. We had people who were more than willing to come and stand on the soapbox. And I have to tell you, when I was given this assignment, I thought, oh, come on. I don't think people are going to feel comfortable talking about politics.
Yeah.
They were thrilled to have their voices heard.
That's so cool.
Isn't that amazing?
So residents in the Sholo, Pine Top, Lakeside area, they stressed, you mentioned economy is their top concern.
Yes.
What's the economy look like in that part of the state versus, let's say, here in the Valley or down in Tucson or Nogales where Nick Ciletti was?
Very good question. In their eyes, and I talked to two young single moms who are going to cosmetology school. They say trying to make their own future brighter. They can't pay for the rent. They're having a really hard time covering gas because One of them lives in Snowflake and has to make a journey round trip. I think it's 60 miles, she said, round trip.
Yeah.
And when you're thinking you're living, right, paycheck to paycheck, or maybe you're living on money that you've saved or student loans, the money goes quick. And talking about trying to buy food and groceries, again, another hot topic. One of the young women we spoke with said, look, I just had a baby, right? I want to be able to leave something for my son. And right now, she said she feels like she can't do it. And that's why she feels so strongly about the way she's going to be voting.
Did you ever pick up a feeling of hope? I mean,
Yes.
obviously there's concern, but is there hope? Like, she wanted to do that. Does she feel like there's a chance she might be able to?
Well, she thinks and says that with her vote, that is giving her hope, because this will be her first time voting in a presidential election. And it was really nice to see her eyes light up and say, hey, I do have a voice in this.
Yeah.
We need that, by the way.
Kaley O'Kelley.
Everyone needs to feel like they have a voice.
Kaley O'Kelley from ABC 15 joins us talking about their Voice of the Voter series. And I'll ask a naive question. I haven't been up to the Sholo area. What are gas and grocery prices like up there? Are they more expensive than here in the Valley? Are they less? Are they similar?
I don't know. I don't.
Okay.
I could sit here and say, well, they're just like the Valley, but I do not know. I know that they're high enough for the people that we talk to mention them.
Well, I know the median household income is less than it is in the Valley. So
Yes.
even if the prices are comparable, it's still a bigger chunk out of your disposable income, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so, that was one of the things that we talked about, and quite extensively with everyone. But the other issue that came up was immigration, and they all mentioned fentanyl.
Really?
They're worried about fentanyl coming up over the border.
So my follow-up then is there a fentanyl issue that we know of, or is it the concern that there could be a fentanyl issue in the future? Is there evidence of this growing, or is it the we want to make sure it doesn't?
Well, we've had members of the DEA on Channel 15. I mean, we know that fentanyl is at an all-time high, and the numbers are, very high here in the state of Arizona.
Yeah.
There was no one in particular who said, I have family members who, are addicted.
Sure.
Nobody talked about losing a family member there, say, in Sholo. But the numbers have shown that, yes, we've seen an extreme increase of fentanyl here in the state of Arizona.
Yeah, I just know there's always that corridor up I-17 as, of
Yes.
course, you're trafficking into other parts of the state. I just didn't know if it had kind of permeated into the smaller areas.
Well, people hear, we're hearing a lot as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it may have centered from that.
Well, I always say it's those sensationalist news reporters on the radio.
I know, you got to get us.
You got to really get after all of them. You never trust them at all. Did you find people were, you mentioned that people were excited that,
Yes.
you were giving them a voice, obviously, and that's big. You are a huge microphone to people who feel like they're oftentimes overlooked in Sholo when they see the news truck roll in. Did you find people that were apprehensive?
No. And I actually, because with what we do, we tend to be.
Kind of expected it, right?
We expected it.
Yeah.
I won't speak for the rest of my team. I expected it. I definitely expected it. And I was excited to get to visit with people who might feel that way.
Sure.
And there wasn't any of that. There was one woman who said that her voice and her vote didn't count. And so I went over and I sat with her on a bench, and I visited with her. And she's from the Valley, tragically lost her husband recently. They have a winter home there in the Sholo area. We were at a place where people come to get ice cream. And I talked to her about it. She said, I just don't feel like my vote matters. And I said, well, we want to hear your voice. We want you to feel heard. She still wasn't comfortable, but she did say how much she appreciated that we were there. And she sat and listened to so many people sharing how they feel.
That's fascinating. I'm kind of jealous of your experience. It sounds like it was
jump on
really
board. Maybe we'll get to do
Let's
it again.
Everybody into the van.
Let's go.
We're taking Chris to Winslow.
Yes.
All right. Kaley O'Kelley, ABC 15. It has been a pleasure having you in the studio.
The
I hope that we
pleasure's
get
mine.
to talk with you more often, really. We're all fanning over each other in here. It's been great.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching The Chris and Joe Show. Click to see more from Chris and Joe and tap the button in the middle to subscribe to KTAR News.